like a different way of living now.
And thank you, world.
We always knew that we'd be free somehow.
In harmony, and show the world that we've got liberty.
It's such a change for us to live so independently.
Freedom is he, has got our hearts singing so joyfully. Just look about, you owe it to yourself to check it out. Can you feel a brand new day? 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 Everybody be glad, because the sun is shining just for us. Everybody wake up into the morning, into happiness. Hello world, it's like a different way of living now. And thank you world, we always knew that we'd be free somehow. In harmony, and show the world that we got liberty. It's such a change for us to live so independently. Freedom is he, has got our hearts singing so joyfully. Just look about, you owe it to yourself to check it out. Can you feel a brand new day? 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 Feel a brand new day.
Live from the historic Hawai'i Theatre, please welcome your hosts, Devin Nakoba and Jody Leong.
Aloha and mahalo for joining us for the I'm a Bright Kid Foundation's first live stream event and our 5th anniversary celebration.
We are thrilled to be back here at the Hawai'i Theatre where it all began, and we remember it vividly. Sold out theater, some 1,300 bright kids, their families, their friends, all gathered, all from all across the world, across the country, and from, of course, across our beautiful islands to honor the legacy of Ron Bright. The centerpiece of that celebration, of course, was our inaugural production, Brighter Still.
Today, we celebrate in a different way. We may be live streaming this time, but we'll certainly fill this theater with just as many memories and just as much love and gratitude. We're so thankful for the opportunity to mark this milestone, perhaps reaching an even larger audience through our live stream. A sincere mahalo to the Hawai'i Theatre, Executive Director Greg Dunn, and their partners in the arts program for making this possible.
Our opening number that you saw at the top of the show, Everybody Rejoice, is a celebration of new beginnings from the musical The Wiz. One of Mr. B's many gifts was his ability to direct scenes involving huge casts, large groups of people on the stage, filling the stage, bringing stories to life with song. The music and the electrifying choreography reached out and grabbed you.
And although we can't fill this stage with Bright Kid cast members tonight, we hope you get a taste for that electricity and excitement. The Wiz is a very special show for the Bright Kid Ohana. One of its songs, Believe in Yourself, became Mr. B's anthem following the 1985 production. Since then, every cast call includes that special song.
I remember it well, so do you.
Yes.
The lyrics fittingly embody Mr. B's deeply held belief that faith and confidence in one's abilities can take you anywhere. He instilled his belief in all of his students.
Now, with the tide slowly turning in our world's current situation, we hope that you are as excited about the prospect of a brand new day as we are. Mahalo to our longtime choreographer and friend, Marcelo Pacleb, director of the 24/7 Dance Force Studios in Kaneohe, and all of our talented dancers and Wizingers for kicking off our show.
And for those of us who don't know what a Wizinger is,
Well, let me tell you, Jody, the last time that we performed The Wiz, which I was in, we actually performed at a Paliku Theater, and we had these backstage magical singers. We called them, well, actually, they called themselves the Wizingers, and they were this chorus that just filled in the sound, made it just sound like 300 people on stage singing at once, and they would sit in the back and eat snacks and sing really loud. It was great.
Powerful indeed. It has been a challenging time for all performing arts organizations, and the Bright Kid Foundation is no exception. Although physical distancing requirements have limited the ways that we teach and share art, we are incredibly grateful to you for your continued support and generosity. You have inspired us to keep looking forward and searching for creative and new ways to share live theater with you. Tonight, we are excited to bring to you a retrospective of the productions that I'm a Bright Kid Foundation has produced over its 5-year, very short history. We've selected songs from these shows that speak to us in these uncertain times, the security we seek, and the inspiration and creativity that come with change and adaptation.
Now we're asking each person watching today, wherever you are, and if you're able, to donate just $5 to mark I'm a Bright Kid Foundation's 5-year anniversary. Every donation counts, and if you decide you want to give more than $5, no one's stopping you. We love that too. Every dollar will help us perpetuate Mr. B's teachings, the importance of teamwork, of every role, on stage and off, in every show, and the importance of each cast and crew member's contribution to the overall success of the production.
And that's the life lesson that Mr. B instilled in us all. And it remains our foundation in our daily professional and personal lives, and as contributing citizens in our communities. We hope that you will consider a donation to help us continue our mission of promoting Ron Bright's legacy of quality live theater and education. You can donate online right now and throughout our live stream at www.imabrightkid.org. You can also scan the QR code right on your screen.
Exactly. Now on our donation page, you'll find some very special incentive gifts to show our appreciation for your support. Donate $50 and choose between our #Believe, #I'm a Bright Kid, or our exclusive Brighter Days Cocoa mug. These mugs are special because they're usually only available to our cast, crew, and creative team. And later in the show, you'll hear about why this tradition is very special to Bright Kids.
Yes, donate $100, and as a thank you, you'll receive a Bright Kid gift pack that includes a Bright Kid t-shirt, our Cocoa mug set, and our exclusive Bright Kid blend coffee.
Okay, mahalo so much for your support. And now, let's get on with the show.
Yes.
In the fall of 2019, the I'm a Bright Kid Foundation presented the Stephen Schwartz musical Children of Eden at Hawai'i Theatre in Kaneohe.
This production was our gift to Mr. Bright. He loved this show, the story and the music, but never had the chance to direct it himself. We can only imagine how he would have staged this musical based on the book of Genesis. In these current times, as we are all facing unfamiliar and uncomfortable situations that are challenging our ability to adapt and cope, but in these kinds of circumstances, our creativity often flourishes as we learn to navigate the new territory and find new and improved ways of managing our daily lives. The recognition and discovery of our innate potential is that spark of creation, sung by the stunning Jade Stice as Eve from Children of Eden.
Beyond, it sounds full of wind and mist, doesn't it? It means other things exist, doesn't it? Beyond, it says, Adam, leave your list, doesn't it? Father, why does my head feel this joy and this dread? From the moment I said, beyond. I got an itching on the tips of my fingers. I got a burning in the back of my brain. I've got a hunger burning inside me, cannot be denied. I got a feeling that the Father who made us, when he was kindling the pulse in my veins, he lit a tiny spark of that fire, smoldering inside. The spark of creation, it's flickering within me. The spark of creation, it's blazing in my blood. A bit of the fire that lit up the stars and breathed life into the mud. The first inspiration, the spark of creation. I see a mountain and I want to climb it. I see a river and I want to leave shore. Where there was nothing, let there be something. Something made by me. There's things waiting for me to invent them. There's worlds waiting for me to explore. I am the echo of the eternal cry of let there be. The spark of creation is burning bright within me. The spark of creation won't let me rest at all until I discover or build or uncover the thing that I can call my celebration, the spark of creation, the spark of creation, may it burn forever, the spark of creation. I am a keeper of the flame. We think all we want is a lifetime of leisure, each perfect day the same, endless vacation. Well, that's alright if you're a kind of crustacean, but when you're born with an imagination, sooner or later the feeling of fire gets hotter and higher. The spark of
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you, Jade. Now, things that we used to think were impossible are now the new norm. Solutions arise when we use the full capacity of our imagination and open ourselves up to new and amazing possibilities. These are skills that we emphasize in I'm a Bright Kid Foundation's Summer Musical Theater Arts Education program. Mr. Bright used his classroom and theater to inspire kids to be better people, not just better performers. And we aspire to do the same. It was a quick pivot to bring our program online last summer, but we found new and better ways to help our students discover their full potential and build confidence in their skills. From 2019's production of Susical, Drew Bright, Kaiko Kaimuloa, and Austin Panjilinan give us a glimpse of IABK's summer program and a world of possibilities.
This might be a pool like I've read of in books, connected to one of those underground brooks, an underground river that starts here and flows right under this bathtub, and then who knows, it's possible. Anything's possible.
It might go along down where no one can see, right under State Highway 203, right under the wagons, right under the toes of Mrs. Ambroso, who's hanging out clothes. It's possible. Anything's possible. It's possible. Anything's possible.
This might be a river, now mightn't it be, connecting the Gallagher's pool with the sea? Then maybe some fish might be swimming toward me.
Full of a number of fish.
If a fellow was patient, he might get his wish.
And that's when I think that I'm not so trouble.
When I sit here and fish in McGallagher's pool, it's possible.
It's possible.
It's possible. Anything's possible. It's possible.
It's possible.
It's possible. Anything's possible. It's possible. Anything. Anything. I still think that I'm not such a fool when I sit here and fish in McGilligan's cool. It's possible. Anything's possible.
Thank you so much, boys. While new adventures can sure be exciting, they can also be frightening at times. Our current times require no small amount of bravery, especially from our children. In our first full-length musical production of The King and I at Hawai'i Theatre, Anna Leon Owens and her son Louis are about to disembark at the port of Bangkok. Mrs. Anna shares with us her secret to facing new challenges and unfamiliar situations. The effervescent Kathleen Stewart plays Anna, joined by fellow King and I cast members in Whistle a Happy Tune.
Whenever I feel afraid, I hold my head erect and whistle a happy tune so no one will suspect I'm afraid. While shivering in my shoes, I strike a careless pose and whistle a happy tune, and no one ever knows I'm afraid. The result of this deception is very strange to tell, for when I fool the people I fear, I fool myself as well. I whistle a happy tune, and every single time the happiness in the tune convinces me that I'm not afraid. Make believe you're brave and the trick will take you far. You may be as brave as you make believe you are. You may be as brave as you make believe you are.
While shivering in my shoes, I strike a careless pose and whistle a happy tune, and no one ever knows I'm afraid. The result of this deception is very strange to tell, for when I fool the people I fear, I fool myself as well. I whistle a happy tune, and every single time the happiness in the tune convinces me that I'm not afraid. Make believe you're brave and the trick will take you far. You may be as brave as you make believe you are. You may be as brave as you make believe you are.
Whew, I can't believe that was 5 years ago. I'm watching that video, and after being in the cast of King and I, those kids look so old now. It's fantastic. Now, no doubt, we've all experienced frustration and feelings of loneliness and hopelessness while isolating this past year and not being able to see and hug beloved family and friends. Connection is vital to the human condition. Our production of Children of Eden featured Miguel Cadoy III as Cain. Here, he laments a solitary existence in Lost in the Wilderness.
I never made this world, I didn't even lose it. And I know no one said it was fair. They had a garden once, they had the chance to choose it. They gave it away, including my share. And now we're lost in the wilderness, lost, crying in the wilderness. And if anyone's watching, it seems they couldn't care less. swallow all the stories. And every night you wish on a star. Dreaming your day will come, trusting in allegories. And every morning, boy, look where we are. Lost in the wilderness, lost, slowly dying in the wilderness, with no chance of a living, boy, until you confess that you're lost in the wilderness. Don't you ever watch the eagle fly through the sun and wonder how he got to be so free? If you ever have, you know your journey's begun. Hey, what have you got to lose, boy, when already we are lost in a wilderness? And where we are headed, boy, I couldn't even guess. But off we go without a warning, running as we hit the ground, where future lies a morning, where our hearts are outward bound. Till in bright and distant morning we may stop and look around, and there in the wilderness finally we'll be found.
Thank you very much, Miguel. And thank you again for joining us for our 5th anniversary celebration and our very first live stream show. We're excited to be back on this grand stage at the Hawai'i Theatre, but we do miss having all of you here with us in this theater. And while we can't replicate the feeling precisely, there are some small things we can do to build a sense of community.
For sure. Mahalo to our restaurant partners, Cafe Kalave and Honolulu Baking Company, for their comfort food offerings and for allowing our audience to enjoy dinner and experience this evening together. There's something special about live theater that makes it unique, and that is the magic that Mr. B introduced us all to.
Mr. Bright inspired thousands of young people during his teaching and directing career, which spanned more than half a century. He always encouraged his students to pursue what they loved, and for some of them that meant taking the skills he helped foster on stage in his theater to the next level. His students have seen the bright lights of Broadway, national tours, TV sets, and theme parks in the U.S. and Japan. Hi, JB.
Now, many of his former students around the world are making careers of their own, making art. So let's check in with Magnum PI and Hawaii Five-0 actor Kimi Balmilero and some of our bright kid ohana. Kimi?
Hey, Devin. Hi, everybody at home. How are you? Thanks so much for joining us. Kimi Balmilero here, proud bright kid since 1989. Don't think about it. Let's just let it happen. I'm so happy to be here with you folks today, not only to see these wonderful performances and of course support a fantastic cause that is so close and dear to our hearts, but I'm here also to connect with some fellow bright kids from around the world. Yes, around the world, living their dream, from Las Vegas to California to Japan to Switzerland. That's how big this bright kid ohana is, okay? So please welcome to our virtual stage, Jordan, Chris, and Clifton. Hey, guys.
Hey.
Hi. So we know that he always used to say, believe in yourself. Just kind of quickly, is there any other piece of advice or something he said to you personally that has stuck with you? We'll go backwards this time. We'll go back to you, Jordan. Is there anything that you can kind of remember that Mr. B has shared with you?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I mean, no matter where I'm working, no matter what the production is, if it's in a language I speak or if it's something that I'm having to translate, I always remember that he says, if you're not having fun, you're missing something. You know, it's called a play. We're supposed to be having fun out here.
Oh my gosh.
So even if you're doing heavy, dramatic, twisted, psychotic kind of dark material, you got to find a way to have some kind of fun, even if it's just with your colleagues.
Well, that character is having fun. Sweeney Todd's having a great time. Clifton, what about for you? What is your piece of advice?
Oh my goodness! Again, long stories. No. Yes, you know,
we don't have that much time.
Believe in yourself, right? Believe in yourself. You know, watching him as I grew up, I was a young kid. I feel, you know, he showed me, as being a father and a husband now, the example of being such a wonderful father, being a wonderful husband, that not only did he believe and teach the believe in yourself model, but to me, he taught me to believe in God. And he had this great example of living righteously, being the good. And I really believe that, Mr. B, he believed that there was B believing that there was good in the world. And he was always that be the good. Every time we saw him, he was always the light. He was the bright light, So I really appreciate him living an example and living boldly for Christ.
Oh, so awesome. Thank you, Clifton, for sharing that. And last but not least, again, the OGG. Chris, I'm sure you have lots of pieces of advice, but what's something that has kind of stuck with you from your grandpa?
I wish I could echo everything that Clifton just said, because that's pretty spot on for me as well. I mean, there's a lot of things, obviously, that he's told me. A lot of jokes, none of which I'll say here. But I think, ultimately, what was so amazing about him is, as his grandson, I got to see that he was just so accessible all the time. Always willing to, he could be on stage. I could run up to him as a toddler and say, "Papo," and he would, be right there. And that happened many times. It happened once when the actual show was going on, which is a whole other story.
You see,
But
maybe it's good that you're behind the scenes now. You're just a scene stealer with the, the thing that, I won't say it again, what happened on stage and you running up. But it's so wonderful. And it's how cool, again, like we have so many amazing moments that we've shared with Mr. B one-on-one as students, as family members, as everything. So it's just been so fantastic to check in with you folks. I wish you all the best. I hope we can see you in person soon. That would be fantastic.
Yes.
And I just want to say thank you. And let's do this again. How's that sound?
Sounds good.
Okay. Aloha, guys. We'll see you soon.
Aloha.
See you guys.
See ya. Bye, guys.
Back to you, Devin.
Thank you very much, Kimmy. Also, thank you to Jordan, Clifton, and Chris for sharing their stories. And by the way, the interview actually went longer than that. We had to cut it for time. So if you'd like to see the full interview, which, I mean, come on, who wouldn't want to hear more stories about Mr. Bright? You can check it out on imabrightkid.org. All right? Now, we're going to get back to Kimmy in a little bit because she's got some more bright kids who are going to be stopping by. So looking forward to that. Now, speaking of bright kids, Jody, I hear you're a bright kid. You want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, I'm a bright kid, but not from 1989. Kimmy. So let's see. I was part of the first West Side Story at what is now called the Ron Bright Theatre in Kaneohe on the grounds of Castle High School.
That was a few years ago.
Just a few short years ago. We did My Fair Lady. We did The Wiz. That's coming up right next. And we had a great time. And as with all of us bright kids, Mr. B, Papo I call him, laid the foundation for really the rest of my life. And I'm forever indebted, forever grateful. And you are a bright kid, but not from Castle.
No, actually, I went to Kailua High School, but I was part of the inaugural class of the Castle Complex Performing Arts program, excuse me, which was started by Mr. Bright. And he came into my classroom in my senior year and said, "Hey, you want to get out of class?" And I went, "Sure." And little did I know that he would have me dancing and singing and acting and all this kind of stuff. But without that guidance, without that initial spark, so to speak, both of us actually would not be here today. So many thanks to Mr. Bright and everyone in the Bright Ohana for bringing us into that world.
And especially Mrs. B, who cooked
Who
meals.
put up with us, actually.
And put up with us for all of his kids. Mahalo. Often taken for granted, home is something we don't truly appreciate until we are far away from it. But home isn't necessarily a place, as we all know. It may be a circle of support, a community that welcomes you and feeds your soul. Mr. B created a home away from home for us bright kids at his theater, in his own home, as we just said, and in our hearts, where we felt grounded, supported, and secure. Reprising her role of Dorothy from our 2018 production of The Wiz, here's Bailey Barnes with Home.
I think of home, I think of a place where there's love overflowing. I wish I was home, I wish I was back there with the things I've been knowing. When that makes the tall grass bend into leaning, suddenly the raindrops that fall have a meaning, sprinkling the scene, makes it all clean. Maybe there's a chance for me to go back now that I have some direction. It sure would be nice to be back home where there's love and affection. And just maybe I can convince time to slow up, giving me enough time in my life to grow up. Time, be my friend. Let me start again. Suddenly my world's changed its face, but I still know where I'm going. I have had my mind spun around in space, and yet I've watched it growing. Oh, and if you're listening, God, please don't make it hard to know if we should believe the things that we see. Tell us, should we try and stay? Should we run away? Or would it be better just to let things be? Living here in this brand new world might be a fantasy, but it's taught me to love. So it's a real, real, real to me. And I've learned that we must look inside our hearts to find a world full of love, like ours, like mine, like
Haley Barnes, thank you so much. She blows me away every single time. Songs for a New World had its Hawaii premiere at Hawai'i Theatre in November of 2019. I'm a Bright Kid Foundation was excited to be the first in the state of Hawaii to produce this show and to share this rich music with our audiences. The cast of 6, small by Bright standards, and director Jade Stice wove a storyline through songs that celebrate the humanity that binds us. I'd Give It All for You speaks to the challenges of making relationships work and the fulfillment achieved when we decide to take on the world together. Please welcome Kevin Pease and Michael Kabagbag.
House while you were gone. The week after you left me, I found a couple acres near Sabrina Park. I had a house while you were gone, a house with silver shutters and driveway laid at marble and thousands of rooms to fill and miles of space to fly. And I tried to believe it. it was better without you. I was safer alone. No, I give it all for you. I give it all for you by my side once more. Oh, I give it all for you. I give it 'cause it's harder to touch the things that are dearer. I love you too much to trust something clearer. I know I fell too far, and now you're here.
I took a trip while I was gone. I cashed in all my savings and bought an Eldorado. Drove to Tennessee. I took a trip while I was gone. I drove across the country and I stopped in lots of diners and stared at a million stars and thought I could touch the sky. And I tried to believe it. It was better without you. I was finally free. No, I'd give it all for you. I'd give it all for you by my side once more. Oh, I'd give it all for you. I'd give it 'cause the mountains I climb get higher and higher. I'm running from time and walking through fire, and dreams just don't come true. But now there's you.
God knows it's easy to hide. Easy to hide from the things that you feel, and harder to blindly trust what you don't understand.
God knows it's easy to run from the people you love, and harder to stand and fight for the things you believe. Nothing about us was perfect or clear, but when paradise calls me, I'd rather be here. There's something between us that nobody else needs to see. There were oceans to cross,
there were mountains to conquer,
and I stood on the shore,
and I stood on the cliff, and the second before I jumped, I knew where I needed to be. Oh, I gave it all for you. I gave it all for you by my side once more. Oh, I gave it all for you. I gave it 'cause it's harder to touch the things that are dearer. I love you too much to trust something clearer. I know I fell too far, but here you are.
Thank you, Michael and Kevin.
Gorgeous.
Now, if you're sitting at home and clapping at your screen, that's cool. Jody and I do not have the luxury of being able to do that, which seems really odd for us. So
Yes.
all we do is sit there and go, yay. It's incredible. Now, while Mr. B was known in our community as a theater director, he was first and foremost a teacher. This past year has been trying for us all, but it has been especially challenging for our educators.
So many of Mr. Bright's students followed in his footsteps and became teachers. We could not be prouder of them at this moment. It takes a special person to be a teacher, and our Bright kids truly had the best possible example to follow.
Now, get out some Kleenex. I'm going to warn you right now, okay? Please join us in expressing, Jody first. Please join us in expressing our deepest appreciation for our teachers who have taken on the awesome responsibility and dedicated their lives to educating and inspiring our next generation.
Everybody pump, To watch Mr. Bright and to watch the genuine love that he had for his students and how many he impacted, that was something I wanted. And it's not that I wanted to impact the world, but I saw that you can touch a life through education. My name is Alan Lau. I am a resource teacher at Ka'imilo Elementary School.
I'm a teacher, high school, Punahou School.
I'm a teacher at Palisades Elementary School. I teach the 2nd grade. I'm a bright kid, and I'm proud to be one.
I'm a 2nd grade special education teacher at Waipahu Elementary, and I did not call Mr. B. I called him Papo because he was my grandpa.
Hi, my name is Jody Stein, and Jody Bright Stein actually, and I am a retired teacher. I retired in 2019, and Mr. Bright is my daddy. I grew up with a dad who loved teaching. When he taught, he was just so exuberant, and I could tell that he cared and loved every one of his students, even though it was 150 students that he had.
He was infectious. I mean, you know, it was like a warm hug all the time, and he hugged a lot too, but it was just, you walked into a room and eye-to-eye contact, eyes lighting up, anything about you was fascinating, interesting.
He had a way of saying your name, of this little squeal that he had, the way his voice would just get so excited.
His style of teaching is to have kids be the best they can be. He sees the potential, and he helps them to understand and believe that they have the power to be wonderful.
He modeled that being a good teacher is being a good student and respecting those around you and respecting the learning and the mistakes that they make as part of their learning. And so you take that and you move forward together with that.
We just saw him teaching kids how to care and love themselves. Knowing that and how he could draw that out of them really struck me. And knowing that, hey, if he can do it, maybe I can do it too.
I think what made me go into teaching was just growing up, seeing the way that my grandpa, my mom, my uncles, their wives, seeing the way that they could make a difference in people's lives. I knew from a young age that I don't know what I'm gonna do, but I know I wanna do that.
Every day when I woke up, I knew that I was gonna go to work and I was going to love on these kids just like Dad did. I was gonna try. It was, some days were tough and some days, were not. But on the tough days, Dad had those tough days too.
He knew tidbits about each student that he would remember. So everything was very personal, and I think for me, in my teaching, I also try. I mean, it's hard with a lot of students, but I try to stand at the door every day when the students come in, say hi, look them in the eye, greet them, instead of having kids just filter in and be like, okay, class, this is what we're doing today. Taking that time to say a student's name. It sounds trivial, right? But those are the things that some students that are having a bad day or that are feeling left out or that are going through something at home, those are the moments that you don't even hear about. You'll never hear, right? So you just have to believe in the fact that that is making a difference in a student's life.
I think it just comes down to this daily, moment by moment thing. Am I taking the moments with my students to be the person that they need? I don't know what it's gonna do for them in the future. I can't say what's gonna happen for them down the line, but if I can be present in that moment with them and think, what do they need from me in this moment?
He empowered us to believe and love ourselves. So we in turn need to believe and love whoever steps through our doors. And this year, they didn't step through our doors.
I was like the worst online teacher ever. In fact, I had enough years that when this happened, I was thinking, do I have enough years? Maybe it's a good time to retire.
Where am I going to get the energy for the next thing that I have to do that I've never done before, that the school's now asking me to do, or that I need to develop that I've never done in 30 years. And I think the inspiration comes from knowing there's kids on the other side that need you.
I would constantly be saying, you folks are doing an amazing job. We've never done this before in the history of education, and we need to show the world that we can do this.
I know that whatever challenge I have as a teacher, I know I can get through it, just problem solve. As Mr. Bright would do, just problem solve.
I think he would say that it's not any different. You can still reach kids, you can still touch kids. So every day when they come on Zoom, mentioning each kid by name, I see you, I see that you're there.
There was one student that he was kind of coming in face to face at the beginning and he was struggling. So I went to see him in our tech lab that they had set up for the kids. And I went in there to scold him, actually, to kind of like, what's going on with you? And something came over me when I was in that moment. And instead of reprimanding him, I got down real low, eye to eye with him, you know, from 6 feet away, but I got eye to eye with him and I was like, what is going on? And he just kind of looked at me and kind of looked down and I was like, what's going on? I don't understand. Help me to understand. And we were talking through that it was hard and he was struggling. I was like, you are so smart. I can see it. And I would, list off all the things that you can do. So I know you can do this. And we just talked through, like, in those moments, what are you gonna do? I'm gonna push through. What are you gonna do? I'm gonna push through. And we did that like over and over and over again. And we would continue, like every day I would check in with him and be like, okay, what are we gonna do today? We're gonna push through. That's right, okay. And then I was like, okay, that's all fine and dandy and you don't know if they're actually taking that in. And then later on, like a couple weeks later, another student was struggling online. They didn't want to answer, they were just really struggling. And I see in the chat, this student's name pop up and he's just saying, push through. Spelt wrong, but that's okay. And it was such a powerful moment for me as their teacher to see that the words that I say, the words of encouragement that I give them, it sinks in and then they can put that back out into the world.
There definitely have been hundreds of people that went into teaching because of Dad. I know there are so many other kids that are becoming teachers because of the teachers that he inspired. And I know he is so proud of every single one of them. Even if he's never met them, I know that he is with every single one of them.
When you look at other teachers that have that thread, you just know that you're carrying on.
We can never be as good a teacher or person as Mr. Bright. But what we learn from him is that we can try.
I think Mr. Bright would tell everybody, I'm so proud of you for what you've done and how you've done it, as hard as it may be.
And I know teaching and education was such a big part of his heart. So I think he would be really, really happy to know that I love what I do. And that so much of that is because he loved what he did. And because he was able to do that, I get to do that now.
Mr. B.
Yes.
So how you feel?
Oh, I mean, it's opening night. How am I supposed to feel?
Excited! All right, good luck, you guys.
God bless you.
God bless.
So awesome. Okay, Jody, I never actually had the good luck and good fortune of being in Mr. B's class. What was it like being a student?
It was just life-changing, period. You know, and thank you so much to our teachers everywhere for our bright kid teachers and telling their stories. Touched my heart, for sure.
That was really
and
cool.
you know, through them, Mr. B is still alive in all of our schools today. So Mr. B's influence out there through our bright kid teachers. Mahalo. Welcome back to the Hawai'i Theatre, where we are streaming live from this historic stage. Mr. Bright would be very proud indeed of all of our teachers that have risen to the challenges of this past year, for sure. If you're just joining us, we are celebrating the 5 years of the I'm a Bright Kid Foundation, which was launched on this very site in August of 2016.
Now we are marking this anniversary by looking back on the shows we've produced for guidance and for inspiration. And we are hopeful for brighter days ahead. If you're enjoying the show, please consider a donation to support our scholarship and education programs and to help us preserve Ron Bright's legacy for years to come. So just visit www.imabrightkid.org to make your tax-deductible contribution. And of course, we're grateful for any donation you choose to make. And while you're on our donation site, you can take a look at some of our incentive gifts, our way of thanking you for your support. By the way, look right down. Right there, there's the QR code. You can also make your donation that way, and we really appreciate it.
Making it very easy for you, thank you. Our relationships have been tested in these unprecedented times. It can be especially difficult for parents who must delicately balance encouraging freedom and self-determination in their children, while at the same time dealing with their own feelings of loss and uncertainty. Please welcome Michael Bright as Noah and Chad Atkins as father in Children of Eden's The Hardest Part of Love.
Oh, this son of mine I love so well, and oh, the toll it takes. I would give to him a garden and keep it clear of snakes. But the one thing he most treasures is to make his own mistakes. Oh, he goes charging up the cliffs of life, a reckless mountaineer. I could help him not to stumble, I could warn him what to fear. I could shout until I'm breathless, but he'd still refuse to hear. Oh, but you cannot close the acorn once the oak begins to grow. And you cannot close your heart to what it fears and needs to know, that the hardest part of love is the letting go. As a child I found a sparrow that had fallen from its nest, and I nursed it back to health till it was stronger than the rest. But when I tried to hold it, it would peck and scratch my chest till I let it go. And I watched it fly away from me with its bright and selfish song. Part of me was cursing I had helped it grow so strong. And I feared it might go hungry, and I feared it might go wrong. Oh, but I could not close the acorn once the oak began to grow. And you cannot close your heart to what it fears and needs to know, that the hardest part of love is the letting go. Is the letting go.
And it's only in Eden grows a rose without a thorn, and your children start to leave you on the day that they are born. They will leave you there to cheer for them. They will leave you there to mourn ever so. Like an ark on uncharted seas, their lives will be tossed. And the greater is your love for them, the crueler is the cost. And just when they start to find themselves is when you fear they're lost. Oh, but you cannot close the acorn once the oak begins to grow. and you cannot close your heart to what it fears and needs to know.
That the heart is part of love,
and the rarest part of love, and the truest part of love. Love is the letting go.
Thank you, Chad and Michael. That was awesome. Now, many of us have become very familiar with Zoom, WebEx, and Google Hangouts for online meetings and for education. Moving live theater online, however, seemed like a big leap. The learning curve was steep, but there are some among us that aced this from the get-go. I'm talking about bright kid Kimi Balmilero, who has moved her Hawaii Sketch Comedy Festival, Improv Hawaii, and Tiny Stage Hawaii events all online. We thought she would be the perfect person to help us catch up with bright kids around the world who are making their careers in the entertainment industry. So let's send it back again to Kimi, aka Dr. Noelani Kunha of Hawaii Five-0 and Magnum PI, who's been busy checking up on some of her fellow bright kids. Hey Kimi, you still there?
Hey Devin, yes I am, and I wish you folks could capture or could see what has been happening behind the scenes, because we've been reconnecting with so many fellow bright kids across the world, around the world, living their dream, and it's been so much fun checking in and, you know, recharging our memories of how we all first met and how we first met Mr. Bright. So let's welcome back to the virtual stage, Danny, Jack, Matt, and JB. Hi, everybody.
Hey.
Aloha.
Aloha.
So cool to see everybody.
How's it going?
Good.
Hello.
So I'm sure audiences know your faces and your voices very well, but just for fun, why don't we go around? We'll start with Danny. Introduce yourselves. Tell us where you're calling in from, and also when did you officially become a Bright Kid? What year?
My name is Daniel Bolin. I'm calling in from Pasadena, California. I graduated from Castle in 1987, but joined the theater program late in 1985.
Awesome. That's great. Jack, let's kick it to you.
Woo! Hi, I'm Jack, formerly known as Debbie Parker. That might confuse some people. On a cruise ship contract, somebody else was named Debbie. And so I just embraced the opportunity to change my name, because let's face it, I really wanted to change my name from Deborah to Jacqueline, because my father's name is Jack and my mother's middle name is Lynn. It sounded like a great stage name, and then I never went back and I legally changed the name. So if you've been trying to find me, I'm the old Debbie Parker.
Your
and
search is over. Here it is.
Cougar.
And what year did you become a Bright Kid?
Way back in 1977. I actually was 7 years old, and Donnie Sager, if anybody can remember Donnie, he brought me to his audition for The Sound of Music. And so I went with him, and we went to the AV room at Castle High School, and this radiant, loving beam of a man, Mr. Bright, was sitting at the piano. And at the end of the audition, he said, "Hey, could you do me a favor?" And I was like, "Sure. Oh, can you sit next to me?" "Okay." So I sat next to him, and he says, "Can you sing this line?" I said, "Okay." So he said, "The sun has gone to bed, and so must I. Goodbye, goodbye, goodbye." And so I sang it. And the victory in this man's eyes, I knew at that moment that I had Papa around me, and I've been with him ever since. Yeah,
That's
so
so
that was
wonderful. I love that. And a star was born.
Yeah.
JB, all the way in Japan. I just gave two of the pieces I asked of information that I asked, but why don't you introduce yourself and do all the things for us?
Okay, disclaimer, I'm JB and I'm calling from Japan. I'm in Osaka. And I have been a Bright Kid since 1980 when Mr. Bright did his first show at the theater on the Castle property, West Side Story. And I wasn't cast originally, but I hung around and got in everybody's way, and finally he created a role in the show for me.
Oh, yes. I love that. I also wasn't cast in a play before from Mr. Bright, and it broke my heart, but it taught me so much. So
yeah.
yeah.
Well,
So we're there. We're the Broken Hearts Club.
I was signed up for a theater craft class that summer at Castle. So he just canceled the class and had us work backstage. And as I worked and played piano and stood in for people who couldn't be at rehearsal, he finally just created a role for me, which was the highlight of my life.
Love that. Oh, I love that. Now, all the way in California, also northern. Hi, Matthew. We have a lot of history.
Hello.
We've done lots of Mr. B productions together, starting in middle school. Tell us your name. You know, I've again said everything, but just do all the stuff for us, just for fun.
Hi, yes, you know me very, very well, Kimmy. You actually emceed my wedding. I'm in California for the office shutdown, although I do live in New York City now. My name is Matt Tinker. The very first show I ever saw was The Wiz in 1985 at Castle. I told you before, my babysitter was the Wicked Witch, Andrea Lakin. And then my first show with Mr. B, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, Kimmy, but Let's Go to the Movies was 1992. 1992.
Sure.
It was in the elementary school theater.
Oh yes,
the
yes,
theater
I do
productions,
remember.
yes.
Yes, I don't
It was
remember the
kids'
year
review,
because maybe
yes.
that's something I don't reveal myself. But yes, I do remember the show.
Thank you very much. Kimmy, JB, Chris B, Jacqueline, and also Danny, we appreciate you spending the time. Now, once again, we did have to cut those down quite a bit for time, but if you'd like to see the full interview with them, you can always go to imabrightkid.org. And by the way, did you notice that in, I would say 90% of those stories, it's Mr. Bright going, hey, you want to come play? We go, what? And none of us had any idea what was in store for us. So that's one of the coolest things about getting involved with Mr. Bright and the Bright Kids.
Absolutely.
Okay, so we're about an hour into this show now, and we still haven't heard about this mug that you've had sitting over here on your podium.
So you know how earlier you saw that you could purchase a I'm a Bright Kid mug or one of the show mugs, right? And it's mostly for the cast and crew, I believe, and staff of the shows, but you get your chance to buy it. So the way it started was when we were really little kids in high school, and little kids, I must be very old, we would go to the Bright's house all the time to have hot chocolate and Saloon Pilot crackers. And this is one of the first mugs that someone made it for us, Moped on Mrs. Bright, I don't know who did, but it says Leong's mug. We all had our own, and we would go over. Papa would pop his special recipe of hot chocolate in there, and we would have Saloon Pilot crackers and peanut butter and jelly spread all over it, and it was delicious.
That's true. I've never been able to recreate that hot cocoa thing. I've tried, and it never works out quite well.
2 heaping teaspoons of Nestle's Quick, cream, dash of sugar, hot water.
See, I know I was missing a couple, 3 or 4 things in there.
One of the recipes I do know.
Exactly, that's amazing.
Anyway. All right, despite physical distancing requirements, we have all still managed to maintain a connection with those who are important to us. Love knows no boundaries or restrictions. Those who love are part of an infinite circle that embraces us all. In the musical Once on This Island, Urzuli sings Human Heart and celebrates a love that unites and sustains. From our summer education program, please welcome Selah Fronda.
Part
Thank you so much, Selah, and thank you also to Bailey Barnes, Miguel Cadoy, Jade Bright for the vocal accompaniment. We have been on unsure footing this past year where familiar rules no longer apply, where we must quickly learn new norms and new ways of being and new pathways to happiness. Change is really the only certainty in life, and we've all had to learn to embrace change and transformation as something positive, our road to a new world and a better tomorrow. On Dragonfly Wings was our very first summer production featuring a cast of more than 50 students and the culmination of our musical theater education program in 2015. Written by the late local playwright Lisa Matsumoto with music by Rosalind Katrakia, this show is a heartwarming story of transformation and new beginnings. We have a couple of songs for you now. The cast of Songs for a New World sings A New World, followed by lovely Elise Glazer as Dora Dragonfly, discovering The New Dawn from On Dragonfly Wings.
Across the ocean, a new world calls across the sky, a new world whispers in the shadows. Time to fly, time to fly.
About one moment, the moment before it all becomes clear, and in that one moment you start to believe there's nothing to fear. It's about 1 second, and just when you're on the verge of success, the sky starts to change and the wind starts to blow, and there's no explaining where you stand, and you didn't know that you sometimes have to go round an unexpected bend, and the road will land in a new world.
It's about one moment, that moment you think you know where you stand, and in that one moment, the things that you're sure of slip from your hand, and you've got 1 second to try to be clear, to try to stand tall, but nothing's the same, and the wind starts to blow,
and oh, you're suddenly a stranger in some completely different land, and you thought you knew, but you didn't have a clue that the surface sometimes cracks to reveal the tracks to a new world.
You have a house in the hills, you have a job on the coast,
you find a lover you're sure you believe in,
you got a pool in the back, you get the part of your life,
you hold the ring in your hand,
but then the earthquake hits and the bank closes in,
and you realize you didn't know anything. Nobody told you the best way to steer when the wind starts to blow.
Rise, it's a new day, and all around, new life abounds. How it beckons and it calls you. Come and play, cast your fears away and soar like never before and fly higher and higher, so high till you touch the sky, and your life, your love lives on and on with each new day, with each new dawn.
Thank you so much, Elise. You know, Elise was a little girl, actually, when she did On Dragonfly Wings as part of our first musical education program back in 2017, and now she's a grown woman. I think she's graduating from high school this year. Also wanted to thank our singers in A New World, Vanessa Mazzullo, Kevin Peace, Miguel Cadoy, Susan Haas, and Michael Kabagbag. Thank you so much. The idea for the I'm a Bright Kid Foundation was literally born in the parking lot outside the Ronald E. Bright Performing Arts Center on the grounds of Castle High School in Kaneohe. With hearts still heavy after his passing, many of his former students who had gathered there in honor of him felt a tremendous responsibility to ensure that his legacy and spirit lived on. To tell us about the Bright Kids' plan for the upcoming year, Devin has stepped on stage with Executive Director and co-founder Lagaya Stice. Devin, Lagaya?
Thank you very much, Jody. Okay, Lagaya, let's get right to it. How did we get here?
How did we get here?
Yes.
Well, very specifically, we got here by invitation from the Hawai'i Theatre Center and their partners in the arts program. So we are very, very indebted to Gregory Dunn and the staff at the Hawai'i Theatre for allowing us to come in and to use this beautiful space for our very first live stream and celebration of our 5th anniversary of the organization. 5 years ago, in August, we actually, as you folks talked about at the beginning, we sold out this house. It was pretty amazing. We sold out the Hawai'i Theatre for Brighter Still, which was our musical tribute to Mr. Bright, and it launched our organization.
Yes, indeed. And speaking of the organization, it's not just the plays that we put on, but it's also the students, right? The student educational.
Yeah,
program.
certainly the plays are sort of our big billboard. They're what the community sort of sees and knows, kind of in the same way that when Mr. Bright was at Castle, that was what everyone knew about, were the plays and the musicals that he would put on. But as you saw in the video, he had a much deeper influence, influencing a whole generation of teachers, his own children included. And similarly, our organization, we're very invested in educating kids through theater, and we also have, and we're very proud to say that we've been able to expand our scholarship offerings year upon year. So yeah, just kind of like Mr. Bright, we love doing productions. Certainly that's where a lot of us get a lot of joy. But there's certainly a lot of joy and a lot of importance in educating that next generation.
Definitely, because I know one of the things that we were talking about on that day at Castle Theatre when we were working on the theater and painting and doing all that work was we wanted to make sure that even if you never met Mr. Bright, you understood what we did and you understood why we do what we do and why we feel the way we do about it.
Yes, right? Yes, that's very important. So there is a generation of students, yourself, Jody, most people that are involved in this production who worked directly with him. And we feel a really tremendous responsibility to pass that spirit along so that, like you say, people that never met Mr. Bright still understand what he was all about, how much he meant and how important he was to our community and to the theater community in the state of Hawaii. So,
now, one of the ways that you can help us do that is to donate during this show that we're doing, right?
Yes.
And the best way to do that is?
The best way to do that is, well, the easiest way to do it is to scan that QR
Right,
code
the
that
QR
you've been
code,
seeing
right,
on the screen. But you can also go to our website, www.imabrightkid.org/donate, and make a donation there. Mr. Bright felt that every person had a small part to play in whatever production he did. And so similarly, again, even small donations, $5, $10, help us to sustain what we're doing, and we couldn't be more appreciative. So thank you. Thank you very much for sustaining us through this really pretty challenging time.
Most definitely. Thank you so much, Lagaya, for spending this time with us. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
And thank you so much for all of your donations. We really, really, really are thankful for that. Mahalo.
Thank you.
Thank you, Devin. Thank you, Lagaya. And thank you, Lagaya, for being really the nucleus of this entire event tonight. We have much to celebrate in spite of, and perhaps even because of, the world as it is today. We asked our summer program students and our Bright Kid Ohana to tell us what they are grateful for and what they celebrate.
So very cool to see that video end with three of Papo's grandkids there. Now, after a storm, the sun always appears. We have all experienced our own challenges and hardships during the past year, but Mr. B would want us to remember, after every storm, the sun always appears. With a rousing number from Children of Eden, please welcome Jade Bright with Ain't It Good?
Oh, look out there in the eastern sky. Is that a hint of light? Oh, come and look. I need to know if I am seeing right. We lived so long in dark, I'm almost frightened to believe those clearing skies on that glistening horizon. Please tell me my eyes do not deceive me. Ain't it sweet to smell the morning in a world washed fresh and clean? Now the storm has left its warning, and we see a hint of green. Pale gray light grows strong and golden and release us from our pain. Now we sing a song of praise. Amen. Ain't it good? When it good now? Ain't it good to see the sun again? When my ears they're filled with thunder. When my soul began to shake. When my soul began to shake. There were times when I truly wonder if those clouds would ever break. That no storm would last forever. So we felt so helpless. Now we raise up our chest for a glimpse of all His plans. Haven't seen one since I can't remember.
Ladies and gentlemen, Jade Bright.
Thank you, Jade Bright.
Also got to thank our backup singers there, Miguel Cadoy III, Alan Lau, Bailey Barnes, Michael Kabagbag, and Mary Hicks.
And before we go tonight, we must acknowledge our amazing orchestra, band, Orca Band.
Whatever they want to call themselves.
Thank you so much. We can't say enough about them. From left to right, Linnell Bright on keyboard. Linnell Bright, Clark Bright's wife. Sojin Kimura on keyboard. Clark Bright, conductor and drummer. You may have seen him conduct with his head while he was drumming. Derek Higashi on bass. Thank you. Reed Ishikawa, guitar and keyboard.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
You guys were awesome. Now, it's impossible to predict what lies ahead for all of us, but we remain steadfast in our hope that the time will come soon when we'll be able to gather again in a theater just like this, to share inspiring stories, our love of live theater, and to witness our children's joy on stage. We have been blessed by your support and your presence here tonight, for sure.
Thank you for sharing this evening with us. Whatever the future holds, we are committed to overcoming the challenges of the day, to believe in ourselves and each other.
Oh, I almost forgot. We're going to have a video that's going to be playing in just a little bit that is actually
That's right.
going to bring back some memories for some of you who were here for Brighter Still.
From 5 years ago, Brighter Still, right here on the stage, this was our finale. Believe in yourself. It's what Mr. Bright taught us to do.
If you believe within your heart, you'll know that no one can change the path that you must go. Believe what you feel and know you're right, because the time will come around when you'll say it's yours. yourself right from the start. Believe the magic inside your heart. Believe these things, not what life told